So does this mean you know Mr. Hefner?
Oh, yeah. He's a really wonderful guy.
Yeah, he's the greatest guy, sweetest guy.
I can't believe I'm talking to people who know Hugh Hefner.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're discussing the shocking true story of the Chippendales murders.
He got out easy. He was a coward.
For this video, we're looking at the tragic deaths surrounding the famed nightclub and dance troupe in the 1980s and 90s. Have you been to Chippendales? Are you watching Welcome to Chippendales? Let us know in the comments below. The Rise of Chippendales. In the 1960s, showman Steve Benerjee left his home in Mumbai, India to make it big in North America, ending up in Los Angeles, California. For a time, he worked as a janitor before opening 2 mobile gas stations, but he had bigger aspirations. In 1975, he purchased a failing cocktail club called Round Robin and changed the name to Destiny 2. The new club mainly offered dance lessons and backgammon. While business was okay, it wasn't anywhere near the Hugh Hefner level Benerjee wanted it to be.
You're lucky you caught us at an off hour. Usually it's so busy.
In 1977, law student and frequent patron of Destiny 2, Bruce Nahin, became Benerjee's business partner. They started doing theme nights featuring everything from magic shows to female mud wrestling. By 1979, Nahin and Benerjee decided to rebrand the business and came up with the name Chippendales, inspired by the 1700s furniture designer Sir Thomas Chippendale. But the new name didn't make the club any more lucrative than before. That is, until they met Canadian club promoter and entrepreneur Paul Snider, who arrived with an idea for an all-male strip show catered to female patrons. Benerjee ran with the wild idea, with Snider as MC, and they scouted West LA for potential male performers. From the first night, Chippendales was a huge success. Hundreds of women packed the club, which would become a regular occurrence, leading to police raids for overcrowding.
We love it. It's great. We're having a great time.
It was the first time ever where something was completely geared to the ladies.
Snider's girlfriend, Dorothy Stratton, was a Playboy playmate and often brought her Playboy friends to shows at the club. Stratton is even credited as the one who suggested the Chippendale signature cuffs, collars, and bow ties look, which is what bunnies wore at the Playboy Club.
I feel ridiculous.
You are a genius.
However, Snider himself wasn't great for business. He lacked the charm and energy of a good MC and was subsequently fired. The deaths of Dorothy Stratton and Paul Snider. In 1977, the 26-year-old Paul Snider met teenager Dorothy Hogue Stratton when she was working at a Dairy Queen in Vancouver, British Columbia. He thought she was beautiful and could become a star with his help. The two began going out, and Dorothy started posing for photos that Paul submitted to Playboy. She flew out to Los Angeles in August 1978 and was a finalist in the 25th anniversary Great Playmate Hunt. Dorothy, now using the shortened surname Stratton, was a star on the rise. Paul proposed, and they would later get married on June 1, 1979. Paul would be fired by Benerjee that same year and expected his wife's career to support them. In August, she was hired as a bunny at LA's Playboy Club and was named the Playboy Playmate of the Month. Stratton soon got into acting and landed various television parts in popular shows like Fantasy Island and a few small movie roles.
And it took him a little while to talk me into agreeing to taking some test pictures. I had never taken my clothes off for anyone I didn't know.
The more famous Stratton became, the more Paul's jealousy grew, and he feared losing her. Stratton's friends and co-workers noticed his possessive behavior and how he tried to control her and her career. In early 1980, Stratton was named Playmate of the Year, and in March, the budding actress went to New York to film her 5th movie, Peter Bogdanovich's big-budget rom-com, They All Laughed. Stratton and the director began a secret relationship, and she ultimately moved in with him. In June, Stratton wrote a letter to Paul saying she wanted to end the marriage.
The more and more power that she builds, the more he gets to be the person who's the foundation for it all.
On August 13, 1980, against the advice of everyone in her life, Stratton agreed to meet with Paul at the home they used to share. She was shot and killed by her estranged husband, and her body reportedly showed signs of assault. Paul then took his own life, and while the crime wasn't directly connected to Chippendales, this would be just the first of many tragedies. The murder of Nick DeNoia. In the early 1980s, the success of Chippendales was about to become a worldwide phenomenon. Steve Benerjee hired choreographer Nick DeNoia, who also happened to be an Emmy-winning TV producer known for children's shorts called Unicorn Tales. With DeNoia on board, the show turned into a polished theatrical production with sets, costumes, and rehearsed dance numbers.
Let's figure out what the women want, and let's give it to them.
By 1983, he'd convinced Benerjee to open a New York City location, and in October, they premiered their first show, and the Broadway-like production was a huge hit, attracting celebrities like Brooke Shields.
The lighting, the sets, the choreography, and the casting. He wanted all of this to be Broadway caliber.
Soon, the dancers were appearing on TV and becoming a household name. Before the NYC location opened, Nick DeNoia and Steve Benerjee made what others call the napkin deal. The partners split the rights for the NYC club, but DeNoia would have all touring rights in perpetuity. Benerjee signed the napkin contract, unknowingly signing away what would be the most lucrative part of the Chippendales brand forever. Touring around the country brought in a lot of money for DeNoia, and he became the face of Chippendales. Benerjee was jealous that someone else was getting credit and money. Things were already tense between the two, and it only got worse as DeNoia was successful and Benerjee was paranoid. Then, on April 7, 1987, Nick DeNoia died from a gunshot in his Manhattan office.
A man has been shot in the head in my office.
Some Chippendale employees suspected Benerjee, but the case went unsolved for years. After DeNoia's death, he bought back his former partner's shares. Now, Chippendales was all his. The fall of Steve Benerjee. In July 1991, Benerjee hired Ray Colon to kill Reed Scott and Steve White, two ex-Chippendales employees who formed their own group Adonis, the Men of Hollywood.
We have intercepted a call that there has been a contract put on your life.
Colon then enlisted a man he knew who went by the nickname Strawberry to travel to Blackpool, England, where Adonis had a show, and kill them using a syringe filled with cyanide. However, Strawberry went to the FBI's Las Vegas field office instead and helped them by recording a phone call with Ray Colon talking about the hit. Days later, they raided Colon's home and discovered 46 grams of cyanide. He was arrested and detained without bail. But it wouldn't be long before he became an FBI informant himself.
I didn't want to go back to LA. That's too close to Ray. So I figured my only salvation is the FBI.
Ray Colon told the FBI about Benerjee hiring him to set fires at competitors in Los Angeles over the years.
Colon was down here, and he had drew this on a piece of paper that, hey, I'm down here. The person you really want is up here.
However, the people Colon sent to the establishments failed in the arson attempts. The bigger reveal, however, was that Benerjee also hired him to kill Nick DeNoia. Colon sent Gilberto Rivera, aka Louis Lopez, to do the deed, and then aided the FBI in obtaining a recorded confession from Lopez, who was already in prison at the time for an unrelated charge. A year after the failed Blackpool hit, Colon pretended to be a fugitive in need of his friend Benerjee's help. But Benerjee's paranoia about getting caught for his various crimes kept him quiet. Then, he finally agreed to meet Ray outside of the country at a hotel in Zurich, Switzerland.
We're going to construct a ruse where we're going to take Colon out of the country, make believe that he has become a fugitive. Once he gets overseas, he'll call Benerjee.
The room was bugged, with FBI agents listening in next door, and eventually, Benerjee gave them what they needed to issue an arrest in September 1993. Steve Benerjee pleaded guilty to racketeering, murder for hire, and attempted arson, and accepted a plea deal of 26 years in prison and giving up his shares in Chippendales. On October 23, 1994, Benerjee was due to be sentenced, but he was found in his jail cell, having taken his own life.
He got out easy. He was a coward.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. In the media, Chippendales has been discussed and parodied in a wide range of media, including the famous 1990 Saturday Night Live sketch with Chris Farley and Patrick Swayze. However, the darker side to the brand has been the subject of several films, series, and other media, like the 2000 movie The Chippendales Murder. In 2021 and 2022 alone, there have been 2 docuseries on Discovery Plus and A&E. Historian Natalia Petrozzella also hosted the Spotify podcast Welcome to Your Fantasy. All programs feature interviews with former employees and law enforcement involved in Chippendales and the murders.
I thought he was a great person, a great boss. But then I realized maybe this is not the same man I once knew before.
Over the years, multiple filmmakers have been attached to projects about the founding of Chippendales that were never made. But in 2022, Hulu premiered their own series, Welcome to Chippendales, with Kumail Nanjiani starring as Steve Benerjee.
What would it take?
I mean, for me to be there full-time.
Just tell me what it would take.